Hey buddies, welcome to Video Games Awesome Live. Becky and I just saw Star Wars. The Force Awakens.
And I knew things going into it.
In theater.
I knew what was happening because I saw Star Wars before.
My seat was moving throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, dude, mine moved too.
You had that too?
Yeah, I totally moved.
What the fuck? I thought my seat was broken.
I thought we were having an earthquake, like properly timed earthquake, so.
We went to see it in D-Box seats, and we'll get to that.
For our first time ever.
But first, let's get out of the way, just general feel coming out.
Okay.
Should I go first or should you?
I thought it was awesome. I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. Your turn.
So when Becky immediately turned to me and she's like, "So what did you think?" And I was like, "Do you love it?" I was like, it was good. It wasn't great. And
you said okay.
It was okay.
I was like, what? I loved it.
The thing is, so going into it, obviously, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of gravity put into this.
Yup.
A lot of expectations. The trailers were insanely good.
Yeah, dude, totally.
The trailers had evoked a feeling of just like pure fucking hell. That's amazing.
Yeah.
The films themselves, I thought was just, well, it's interesting you say that, 8-Bit Eyes, because I do feel like Abrams there was fan service, and there was a kindness and I would say maybe even a deft hand played when trying to make these own up to their, or rather live up to their source material, the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think that the feeling of Star Wars is definitely there. That, like, you know, don't get me wrong, the film was really good. It was good.
Yeah.
It just wasn't like what.
Get you all jacked up.
So what I said to Becky right after, she said that how much she loved it. I said, you loved it. So if love is this film, what is some of the most recent films you've walked out of that you fucking loved? Like, where does this compare? Like, on a scale of Mad Max to, I don't know, The Room, where is this? And it obviously doesn't hit Mad Max levels.
No, it doesn't. And there was a point during the film that I was like...
And, first, we're not comparing Mad Max and Star Wars as like two films that should be compared. We're talking about just the feeling we had coming out of the theater.
Yeah, and I think about whenever I came out of the theater from Mad Max, and I know that a lot of you didn't like TMNT, but coming out of those two films, I was fucking hyped. Like, so excited that I just couldn't wait to talk to Fraser.
I wanted to go, like, kill a hobo. I was so fucking jacked up. I was like, I gotta do something with this fucking...
This, I thought, was a really, really good film.
Yeah, it was good.
But it
was really good.
Have that, like,
Metacritic...
crazy adrenaline after...
And I don't, like, I barely ever look at Metacritic for films afterwards, but sometimes after a film, I'm like, what did the general feel for this film? And I was fully expecting to go look at it and be like 100, or like 95, or 97, almost one of the greatest films of all time, just because I knew that a lot of reviewers would go into it being like, either personal nostalgia or believing that they have to give it a good review based on the amount of goodwill towards this film so far.
Yeah.
It's got 80. And that's pretty much what I would give it, is like 8 out of 10. And if Star Wars wasn't behind it, I would give it like a 7. Yeah. Being like a really worth seeing.
I feel pretty much the same, actually.
A worth seeing film.
Yeah.
But like if Star Wars gives it that bump, and the fact that they treated the Star Wars franchise well, and it did evoke a bit of the same feeling as the originals, I would say gives it the extra point.
It definitely felt like Star Wars.
So if you're a Star Wars fan, then I'll give it an extra point to must see.
Yeah.
If you didn't love Star Wars before, which, does that person exist? It would go down to a like, nice to see. Yeah, you should watch that film sometime.
Yeah.
But, so...
As a standalone film, like a 7.
As our reviews usually go, guys, we're gonna slowly start to move towards spoiler territory. We'll try to do that in a slow, gradual way. If you feel like things are getting too detailed, turn away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, general feeling, really good. Stuff like that. There were moments, like, I mean, the reveal of the Millennium Falcon was really well done.
Yeah.
It had really, like, cute moments that really worked. I thought that was probably the most exciting part for me.
Yeah.
Was the moment they revealed it. I was like,
yeah.
And the way they reveal it.
Like that. Like, it felt like a dusting off.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that.
And it felt like there was a lot of content.
Oh.
Like a lot of story to get through.
Yeah.
How long was it?
Maybe a little bit too, like...
Too much?
I think that maybe they were too ambitious with the amount of exposition they needed to cover within 2 hours. Because I felt like...
It was 2 hours?
The first film, A New Hope, did such a great job of just keeping it about this little group of people who are just... We know something grander is going on. Obviously, there's a fucking Death Star.
Yeah.
But they did a great job of like really making it just about this ragtag group and I felt like they were going for that here, like trying to make it about the group of people. But because of how grand...
Wait, was that even in that?
Yeah, it was. Because of how grand the scope of all of it was, how insanely large the scope of this story is and what they're hinting at is, it made it a little bit ridiculous, kind of like it did towards the third film when we were watching on the show, on our Awesome Piece Theater.
Yeah.
How ridiculous it seemed that everything continues to center around this one little group of people. When fucking galaxies are being destroyed, or like planets are being blown up, and people are dying everywhere.
Yeah,
But this
totally.
one group of people decides everything, and everything is key to them. Like, I understand when that happens with a Jedi, but I mean, anyways. Besides the feeling, I just wanted to know one thing to get out of the way. Tons of CG. Tons of CG. So I can't wait to talk to Deacon about this because
I'm so excited to talk to him tomorrow.
practical effects. It's all gonna be practical effects. Fuck off. It's just to the fucking tits with CG.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the ships are obviously CG. They didn't make the ships the same way George Lucas did, which was groundbreaking, how he did it with models
totally.
and compositing.
I didn't notice either.
It's not good CG. I disagree.
Totally didn't even notice.
Okay, so like the ships were really well done. Really well done. But I mean, how do you get ships wrong?
Yeah.
Like it's not hard to like. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not hard because I don't know how to do it. But they've been doing it since the original trilogy. Well, some of the aliens were cheesy CG. I agree, 8-bit eyes. Especially the particular aliens that were near Han's, the reveal of Han and Chewie. The aliens that he had on his ship that go aggro were just I just couldn't. They felt like they were probably the worst through the whole thing. I would say almost everything else I would be kind of nitpicking, and I am.
Yeah.
But those were like weird.
I did not even
didn't
notice.
look
I
good.
just saw scary.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And they were moving fast enough that maybe it didn't quite stand out as much. Ships were damn well done though.
Yeah.
The fights were great.
I thought the fights were really good.
Yeah.
Having them in 3D and the 4D seats, I thought added to the experience.
Okay, so should we put the CG to bed before we move on though? So yeah, ships aside, ships were amazing. The graphics that they used for it were incredible.
Yep.
So well done. Lightsaber battles, great. The little effects, the little computer-generated effects that nobody really thinks about are computer-generated, like lightsabers, obviously, but the glows on people's faces, the little wispy effects that they had in scenes with explosions that you could tell weren't natural. If those were natural, it's the type of thing that a director orgasms over and says, I'll never get a shot like that again. They were too perfect. Like little things like picking up something and like the smoke wisps around the hand and stuff like all that stuff. Like it was beautifully done. Huge amount of attention to detail.
Yeah. Yeah, don't talk about spoilers, I guess.
Yeah, no spoilers,
Not
chat.
yet.
We're not getting there. You take our cue.
We will eventually
Only talk
get
about things
into
we talked about.
spoiler
We're
territory.
slowly moving into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, to put the CG thing to bed, I just felt like some of the aliens, especially the one with the glasses for eyes, the big glasses, she really stood out to me as like, you know, George Lucas would be proud type of moment. It didn't, you know, and next to the fact that they did use a lot of practical puppetry, including I think the thing that's drinking with Finn. Finn goes gets a drink.
Yeah.
That thing, I think, was a very large puppet, which was really cool.
The puppet with the commander was...
The commander.
I think.
There's many commanders.
the female commander.
Okay.
I think he was a puppet, right?
I don't remember that. I don't know what you're referring
Anyways,
to.
I thought he was good. He was red.
Fishman is in it. That's not a huge spoiler. Fishman does make an appearance, and because he's practical, it really makes other characters stand out as totally CG. And I think that's, we're still on the CG thing. I think that's, I almost think that if they're going to go practical, like as a signature, to try to feel more like the old movies than the last trilogy did, they should have just gone balls to the wall, all practical. Just fucking do it. Like, only make CG the things that really aren't realistic, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I think it would have been amazing if they only did puppets. But they did mocap for that. They used the girl from 12 Years a Slave or whatever it is, and that's her. They mocapped her with the face dots and everything. So that was 100% capture performance.
Huh.
You guys think? Okay, so some of you need to just turn in your card for identifying good and bad CG right now. Somebody says I think that was a costume. Maybe they're trolling. Or talking about something else.
I don't know.
So anyways, okay, like when I say, so to go back to my hyperbole, not bad CG, just not, I'd say it looks bad, especially compared to the amount of practical they used.
Okay.
And I was telling you.
He's talking about the Akbar guy.
Oh, okay. Well, costume, puppet, half. What were the turtles like in the original movies? Puppet or costume? What do you? Kind of both.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of which, in the theater, I was saying to Becky, the Turtles, the most recent TMNT movie, had a lot of CG that may have been on the same par as that girl who was the glasses character. But because Turtles were nothing but CG, maybe if Splinter had been a costume and the Turtles were CG, then we would have seen the Turtles as bad CG.
Yeah.
But because we're so used to it throughout the entire film, the Turtles weren't bad CG, but they didn't look real either.
Oh yeah, they totally didn't look real.
So it's all about the headspace. Like obviously you don't watch a Disney film and say they look drawn, because it's all drawn.
Yes.
So that's why.
I didn't notice the CG issues, and I often don't.
At least you can say that.
So I guess that's my opinion.
Okay. So, other things, I wanted to put the CG thing to bed, then talk about what? Oh, get back to the D-box seats, and this doesn't really have to do with Star Wars, or maybe it does, because maybe I haven't seen it. I don't know if they did it well or bad, because I have nothing to compare it to. All I know, Becky liked it.
I had it on Max.
I felt like it was like a guy might as well have been tapping me on the shoulder every so often, or rather when some guy behind me, when he saw like action going like this.
Yeah.
It felt so unnatural. The only times where I forgot it, and it felt like it was a part of the film and probably added to the film, was during these.
Yeah,
that's when it made sense.
So good during those.
But then there was shots like that where it's like it moves the seat back,
or
something. It's like, or somebody slams something down on the table and the seat goes. It's
there
like,
were
what?
a couple times like that. One time when Rey put a weapon on.
She sheaths the weapon.
Yeah, and it was like.
Yeah, it's like
Fraser and I both looked at each other like, what the fuck?
There should be an option in those
unnecessary.
for those D-box seats that says, when do you want rumble? When it makes sense or all the time?
Yeah.
Because you goddamn well paid for this and you expect it throughout the entire film.
It felt like a ride.
Because it really added to some moments where an explosion happens out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden the seat, it jostles you, and you're like, holy fuck.
At one point.
Yeah.
Because it jostled me so much. It had been nothing for a while, and then it was
Right.
like, boom!
But honestly, I think it could have done just as well, and I think a lot of theaters really lack a good amount of bass. I think get rid of the D-box seats, give me a fucking subwoofer under every seat. Something that just rumbles, because one of the best moments for the D-box seats was one of the first shots, and this isn't a spoiler, but like this is one of those key moments that made the film feel like the old films. Starts with a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
And you feel that rumble, and that was really good.
Yeah.
But
they didn't make any distracting sounds.
They don't make sounds, but they're just. No, they don't sound like. I thought they would sound, actually. I thought I'd hear the motor. You don't.
Yeah.
But it's just, it doesn't feel. It's one of those things, obviously, as you're seeing between us, you're going to have to try it once.
Yeah. And
but you can always turn it off.
doing as well. Yeah, Fraser turned it off.
Worst case,
turned it on
for some scenes.
Yeah.
Anytime I felt like the action was rising, I turned it back on again. But worst case scenario, you lose an extra $7 that they cost or something to go see it. But if you're into it, yeah, if you like that kind of shit, go for it.
I thought it was awesome.
So
Except for those, there were like a handful of moments where it was inappropriate and took me out of the experience. But the very first thing, so the movie starts and you see like a ship flying by, and it was so subtle at first. It just kind of like pulled us back a little bit the seats, and I wasn't sure if it was like vertigo or if that was actually the seat. And I thought that was a cool, easing you in experience.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it just didn't appeal to me in any way. And I went in very much expecting to love it, but I just felt it was...
But I also thought about how fucking awesome it would have been to see Mad Max with it. Because it's all just like driving around and shit.
Maybe. I don't think so. But anyways, now I want to just talk again about the story, and then what we'll do is one last like general story without getting into spoilers. And then what we'll do is, I think a good way to go through the details of the story is to talk character by character, because I feel like it's easier to remember plot points when you think about the characters throughout the film. Yeah, it also gives you a chance to talk about each character and what you thought of them. But anyways, generally, overall, the story, like we mentioned earlier, I felt was maybe a bit ambitious and felt like it was trying to accomplish too many things at once.
I remember like kind of looking at you pulled it at the phone to check what time it was, and I was like, they have a lot of shit to wrap up.
Yeah, and they didn't really, but I mean, it is also the first film in a series, but, you know, comparing back to the original trilogy, that film stands on its own. It's a beautiful point A to point B story with a big celebration.
You could say this is a point A to point B.
Yeah.
With a loose.
Yeah, with a loose thing.
But it could
and that's not really
alone.
spoilers. Really, all that, like, after the clear end to the film, then there's a bit more that kind of sets up the next film. Like almost every fucking trilogy film nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's clear that is it a trilogy? It's a trilogy, right?
I went into it thinking it was a trilogy.
Well, I know it is at least 3 movies, but have they said no matter what a trilogy, they're not, it's definitely a trilogy?
Yeah, okay. Plus a couple spin-offs?
Oh, really?
Interesting.
See, I'm more interested in spin-offs, I think. Like, at this point, I feel, of course I'm interested in where this goes. They're telling the story that's going to finish this story, the arc of, like, you know, the original, like, what started it all with Darth Vader and all that. And I think, based on what we've seen, they're going that direction to wrap it all up.
Yeah.
I think.
Rogue One is supposed to come out next year?
Oh, I don't even know what that is. All right, don't tell me anything.
I think it's just the title.
Okay.
Like, people only know the title right now.
So, anyways, generally the story, though, I think it because everything's got so much weight and gravity to it now, from the very beginning even, it lacked a little bit of that homey feeling, that humble beginnings feeling of the original trilogy, which, you know, okay, they can't recreate that. I did. I understand what you're saying there. Like, they did actually do a good job of making her, and they had to do it quick.
Yeah.
They had to do it quick. But they did it. They made her look like she came from humble beginnings, sure. But, what was it? Oh yeah, because of the short amount of time, I feel, and the amount that they had to cover, there was no real, I feel like, building of relationships between characters that made any, like, believable sense to me, despite their attempts to make very strong emotional connections to all these characters that have basically just met.
Yeah.
And live in hard times, in a harsh world. Shouldn't be so quick to friendship.
You know what one I did kind of like is Finn and Rey.
You'd like Finn and Rey's...
I don't want to get too far.
You should probably start tuning out now if you're, like, a little bit worried about being told too much. Generally, you've got our opinions.
They did go too quick, but... Oh, wait, no. I said the wrong name.
You're thinking about Finn and the pilot.
Oh, yeah.
Poe.
Yeah.
Finn and Poe were pretty good, and that was because out of necessity, and like they bonded quickly because they had
They
to.
had to, yeah. And they saw each other, and they're like, "Oh fuck, you lived, you lived."
Yeah.
I thought that was.
I thought that was good too.
Really
OTP
cool.
actually, Finn and Poe.
Yeah, and then.
That's my call.
And then they just
Finn and
kind
Poe
of separate.
OTP. Yeah, well, I guess there's shit to be done because the movie's like saying we gotta move things along here.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that a little bit about Luke's meeting up with Wedge at that one moment. It was reminiscent of
totally.
that.
Yeah, and when he saw his jacket
When
on
he saw
Finn,
his jacket on Finn. Yeah, I think that relationship was done
I thought
well.
that was really good.
Now, whereas the relationship between Poe and... Well, okay, let's start and talk about Rey.
Okay.
She, to me, best character.
Incredible.
Fucking loved her. She was incredible.
The
She
actress
is
was amazing.
probably my favorite part of the film was her.
Yeah.
She's got these, there's two parts about her face that really make everything fun to watch or interesting to watch. She's got this one thing with a smile that kind of like creates a crease here and here. Like it's weird. Like these, so she's got this like almost mischievous, impish grin.
Okay.
But on the in other times, she's got eyebrows that like are always kind of like ridged up. Like she's always like giving you like this, but with both eyes at once. She is good. She looks inquisitive, curious, tenacious.
Her costume design is fucking
Her costume is
perfect.
really cool. Becky loved what she was wearing.
Yeah.
Obviously, like it's totally Becky.
And even the costume design, whenever at the end of the movie, so she has to change at some point. She did, and the new costume.
Yep,
is
it's all
just
really
as
good.
I was like staring at it.
Yeah, they did a good job. So she's a scaver. She's a scav. That's her.
Yeah.
She's a scavenger who has been like, basically, I guess an entire industry on the world of Jakku has grown up around the battle and what's been left behind. So I don't know how long ago the Battle of Jakku was, but clearly it was the remnants of the Empire. So probably like how many years have passed? So like a couple decades or whatever.
Okay.
Jesus, Nero W.
He really didn't like her as much as everyone else.
Roughly 30 years. So an entirely industry has like grown up on this planet about scavenging the wreckages, including her. She has presumably, what it looks like, had to raise herself or something like that, and has grown up on a very tough planet, just turning in scrap for food.
Yeah.
Now, because of that, I didn't think as much as I liked her character and liked the actress, I thought that there's times where she wasn't rough enough. Where she was a little bit too quick to trust, a little bit too quick to be friends. And like I was mentioning earlier, I feel like friendships and bonds were created way too quickly.
Well, it's Han fucking Solo. You befriend that motherfucker as fast as you can.
There it makes sense, because he's a legend. They've all heard of him, and so the gravity behind that and the awe that they have for him and the respect immediately, just based on what they've heard. But the relationship between Finn and her, there's a moment in this place where she's like, Finn, what are you doing? What are you saying? Like, he's leaving. He's gonna leave. I thought she was going to basically be disgusted with him and kind of turn on him, and maybe later he'd get validation when he finds her or whatever.
Right.
But then she immediately is sad that he's going, and I was almost crying, and it's like, you're like, I mean, all you know about this guy is he showed up and brought down the hell from the heavens upon you.
Yeah.
Like, that out of nowhere. It doesn't make sense. Sure, they saved each other's butts a couple times, but again, it was a situation that it almost feels as though he put you in. Even though you don't have proof of that, he did appear when everything went to fucking shit.
Yeah.
So...
I did agree that their relationship or friendship moved too quickly.
Out of necessity, I think out of script writing necessity, not out of plot.
Yeah.
It makes sense that in strenuous situations, friendships and bonds grow quickly. It just still didn't make sense for them.
Yeah.
I feel. I felt like it should have been a friendship of necessity, and then basically, you're leaving? Okay, see ya.
Yeah, because she seems like a lone wolf. Like, she's been living here for her entire life, and she lives alone and doesn't seem to have any friends or anything.
She should almost be apprehensive to bond or like to trust anyone.
Yeah.
And then, so...
It was more BB-8 that put her in danger.
That was interesting. When she meets BB-8, she treats him almost like a guy was trying to capture a human. Like, presumably, there are people who... She seems to have an affinity for machines. She's good with them, I guess. She knows it's natural to her. All of the Jedi through... Well, at this point, I hope you've tuned out. I'm assuming only people who've watched the film now are watching. Because we've been getting into detail for a while.
Yeah.
So she's got the Force, and everybody with the Force has always had an affinity and a well-tuned to machines. So maybe that makes sense. So she seems to, like, she understands the droid. Not even Luke understood the droid. R2-D2. We had discussed that during our movie night. He has to read off a screen. Maybe later he learned how to speak R2-D2's, but...
I forgot about that.
Anyways, she was great though.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, what makes her? Maybe it was the Force that makes her not sell the droid.
Yeah.
That she knew she shouldn't. There's just something she knew. Because she was about to get more food than she's ever gotten from anything.
Yeah.
And would have set her up for, like, you know... Like,
half a year?
Yeah, or something. To sell the droid. But it's like, at that moment, she knew something.
Yeah.
We'll continue on. Ray will take us probably through the whole plot here. The movie's called The Force Awakens. And it's clear it's an awakening in her. She's becoming a woman, Charlie Brown. And the moments where she starts to realize the Force are pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially between her and Kylo Ren, as she is clearly more powerful than him.
Yeah.
And she's realizing it. And I thought that her expressions and the way it was revealed that she is powerful, more powerful, was well done. When you have nothing to work with but an invisible power,
totally.
I think that they crafted the scenes well.
Yeah, I was thinking during that how hard that must have been to act.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're acting towards nothing.
It's all in the eyebrows and the cheek muscles.
Yeah. Apparently she's got a good set of both.
Yeah. So she, her reveal as she's starting to realize how powerful, like the scene with her and the Millennium Falcon, the only way that makes sense, the way she piloted
the fact that she can fly it.
The fact that she's just natural at it and is able to do these insane maneuvers is because she's the Force. And afterwards they even acknowledge it. She's like, I don't know how I did it. It just was...
I love that they acknowledge that.
It almost like...
She was shitty at first, but caught on. Like, it's fucking shit. How do you know how to do that?
Like, had a dream that you know how to play piano?
I do know how to play piano.
Shit. Know how to do something that you didn't know how to do?
Yeah.
Like breathe underwater out of nowhere, or like, you know, and you're like...
Or run like this.
It's so simple. You can just, why didn't I do this before? It's easy.
I could win all the races.
I know it clicks. That's, I feel like, what was happening with the character, and I think they portrayed that well. She's like, I've always known this.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes sense. So that was good. Bad analogy. So is that everything to say about Rey, though? Like, yeah, she's really good.
I really loved her character.
So to speaking about the scenes between her and Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, the guy who plays him, or rather his name is Ben, we find out.
Yeah.
Which I guess he was named after Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Which is cute.
Yeah.
But, so Kylo Ren, when he reveals his face, first of all, the casting job, if he is the son of Han and Leia.
You don't think it looks like them at all?
And the grandson of Anakin. I'm not seeing any of that in that guy's face. This guy looks like...
It's strange because he has such strong features.
Jewish features. Extremely Jewish or Italian, one of the two. A massive schnoz on him.
They're very very strong, and they aren't strong in Harrison Ford or
What?
Leia.
That is not Han's nose. He's a Jutalian. That is not Han's nose. I've watched a whole lot. I don't think so. I've seen a lot of Harrison Ford, and I know that nose, and that's not Han's nose.
I was looking at them side by side in the one scene, and I was like,
Yeah, maybe it's hard to tell if he's
get it.
Jewish or if he's like Roman features there. It's hard to tell.
He's not Italian.
Anywho, one thing.
Well, yeah, we are nitpicking.
Yeah,
That's totally what we're doing.
That's what that is. That's a nitpick. Well, I mean, it was still for me a little bit hard to believe, even down to his hair, that he's anybody's son that we've seen in the like black hair. What's really dark flowing hair? I don't believe it. Anyways, and that doesn't matter actually a little bit. Like, I mean, it does take away from some of the believability. Anyways, but anyways, he gets it from Padme, Natalie Portman. Did you see Natalie Portman in that face or hair? Anyways,
no, I really
he takes
didn't.
off the helmet. How is his hair flowing like a fucking Maybelline commercial? In that fucking helmet? It looks like he just came out of the fucking salon.
Yep.
It's the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. It was so stupid. Not only that, it goes like down to
hair.
past, like to his shoulders. How did he not take it off and then have to undo a bun?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you put that on without having to tuck it in with bobby pins and pin it up.
Yeah.
Bullshit. So stupid.
The helmet still's in the freshness.
So, about his
John was
character,
kidding
though.
about Natalie Portman.
Okay. About his character, so here's what I'm really concerned about. They wanted to make him unlikable, like despicable, mission accomplished. But in like the worst way possible. This guy's like Anakin too. I bet you didn't see the other films, with
One,
Hayden
2, and
Christensen. But this guy's got every bit of baby fucking bitch burger in him. He's a whiny little fucking everybody betray me even though they didn't little shit.
I feel like they would have been very nice.
Oh,
parents.
yeah, I bet you. Oh, yeah, definitely.
And they like sent him to get training.
Yeah,
and-
he went with Luke.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we're gonna find out later because he like says a few times like you don't know Han Solo or something like that. Like,
Yeah, maybe he wasn't a good dad.
no, I don't buy it. What, they like had busy lives and didn't pay enough attention to him or anything like that? It feels like they, and I'm hoping it doesn't, but it feels like they may be going down the road where in the original, or in episodes 1, 2, and 3, if you didn't like Anakin Skywalker, well, that's good. You shouldn't like him. But there's a feeling there throughout that you feel as though the people, whoever was involved in writing this, wants you to relate or see why he's so bad. You're supposed to be like, oh man, yeah, now I see why he became Darth Vader. What? Like, he's just a piece of shit, down to the core, for no reason. Like, he had a rough childhood, yeah, rougher than most. Like, his mom was a slave and he was a slave. But he's just like, then he's treated so well by so many people, and he just fucking shits on them for no reason. So if they're going that direction with this guy, make him hateable, fine. Don't you goddamn dare try to make me like this guy.
Yeah.
In the future films, try to make him a complex, deep character. He he fucking blew up 5 planets at once with tons of people on them, and then killed Han Solo. Fuck you. You cannot make him likable in any way, unless they show like a flashback and Han Solo sneaking into his room at night.
Yeah.
You cannot make me believe that hatred. Fuck you. So I'm saying fuck you and as a preemptive one in case they try to pull that bullshit. I hope they don't. Just give me a despicable baddie. You know, I loved it with.
Guys, we gave you tons of warning that spoilers were coming.
No, you had to know by now. We told you. We've been going into the end of the film already. Like, come on. So, if like I loved like that's the reason that I like Kilgrave.
Yeah.
You know, pure, despicable, unrepenting. Like, but the reason I think it's coming is because they keep talking about this light in him. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck that light. That light comes out, fucking. I don't know.
I loved how he felt like he was being tempted by the light side.
Yeah, that was like what made it even
that.
more despicable, right? Like, not only is he bad, he revels in it, and that's fine. Just don't try to validate this guy.
People always blame the guy with the mask for blowing up planets.
So anyway,
yeah.
What else about?
Whenever his training is complete, he'll be more cold.
Oh yeah, so he was super emotional. Like, he's unrefined. It seems like he's been left almost maybe purposefully by the giant guy, who I thought was genuinely a giant, which I thought was going to be cool. But he's not. He's just he's just
like
kind of pompous. What kind of an asshole takes up a gigantic chamber in a ship just for his own hologram that he doesn't need?
It's pretty douchey.
You could appear this big if you needed to.
No, that doesn't have the same impact.
Makes people run to his chamber when there's an emergency to communicate to him. They could have made it so he just like brings them up. Oh my god.
No, you need to be a big commanding figure.
Yeah.
What about somebody in there said that Kylo Ren was like a kid kind of playing grown up.
Yeah, they did that well. It's
Yeah.
clear that he's had an undeveloped childhood. I don't know how old he was when he destroyed everything Luke made for him, but he's not an adult. That's what they made clear. He's basically what Hayden Christensen played Anakin as throughout the film. This little baby who throws tantrums all the way into his adult years.
Yeah.
For that reason, I guess they did their job right. But
I loved his lightsaber tantrums. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, those were good. And so I think that the character's well done because, you know, he's very clear what he is. My only misgivings comes from where I think they might be going.
Yeah.
So Kylo Ren was good, I guess, except for just the whole look. And the look.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the look. The well-crafted hair, the perfect, like, flowing hair, and the just that he doesn't look like he's anybody's baby.
I didn't think he looked like Han Solo or Princess Leia.
Yeah. So
he did say he has too much Vader in him, but I think he's referring to the dark side.
Noting that, how much Vader he has in him, I do feel that the film did maybe rely a little bit too much on recreating that feeling of a Vader-type character, that it almost feels a bit cheesy. Maybe he's playing at Vader. Maybe that's the explanation. Maybe that's why.
He very likely is.
He seems to worship him, right?
Yeah. And he has like his mask right there, and he's asking for.
He says, "Show me, grandfather, how powerful you can be on the dark side," or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, spoilers. He wasn't that fucking great. What do you not get about Luke Skywalker? I'm guessing that Luke Skywalker, he probably originally thought, like, who knows what makes him destroy what Luke built? Was it having an epiphany or finding out what happened to his grandfather? Did that spark a curiosity in the dark side, and then slowly realize that, like, the dark side? Why does he say to grandfather, Darth Vader, show me how you became, or how powerful the dark side is, when you know that Luke beat him? That's what I don't understand. What made him think the dark side was the better way to go? Does he have some sort of misinformation?
Leia said Snoke tempted him.
Did Snoke come and tell him the wrong thing, like convince him that that he's been lied to, or like
maybe? Yeah. Bear in mind that Snoke has been fucking him up as well.
that he's been fucked up in the head. So maybe Snoke is an uber mind-controlled Jedi. So Snoke, getting into like some minor characters there, I guess so far he's minor. He's side character. Snoke is interesting.
Yeah.
Type of character. He's in the first like, so he's an alien emperor this time. Like, he's in the place of the emperor. I don't know if they call him the supreme leader, not the emperor, because the Imperials are done, but they're still. What are they? They're the
First
first order. So they're like a second coming of the Imperials. They're an attempt to revive whatever they stood for.
They're all stormtroopers, right?
Because the Republic has been revived, and they're supporting the, what do they call Leia's people? The Resistance?
Yeah.
Resisting what? The First Order? If the Republic wants to resist the First Order, get off your fucking duffs and, like, use your armies to stop them. I'm gonna assume the bureaucracy got in the way of actually fighting them or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Because the Republic is like, if you didn't know, is like all planets joined in a federation, basically. Okay. All the species and governments joined together to control the galaxy and like facilitate trade and negotiations.
The Resistance needs to be part of the Republic that fights against the First Order.
They should be,
Resistance is supported by.
then in my opinion, having the backing of every fucking government. Like Princess Leia is a general, and what I gather is like the top general of everything. Then she should have the backing of like unlimited funds and have way more power.
Well, she's not really a princess anymore, right?
No, but she's the fucking like.
Well, she's the commander.
She's the top commander of everything. She should. She should have. They still.
So that's where the financing should come from.
The Resistance still looks like the ragtag rebels, and that worked in the first films, but now it just doesn't make sense. Like if the I'm not sure like what's going on there. They talk about. There's a moment where redheaded evil man, who I loved by the way,
yeah,
he was great.
Really good.
Mentioned something like the Republic almost secretly supporting the Resistance. Like they don't want to be publicly against the First Order or something like. So there's politics at play that maybe the Republic continues to be bureaucratically constipated as they always have, and maybe that's what. But anyways, then they just fucking shoot them all down, and they're all dead, and they get what they deserve every fucking time.
Yeah.
And fucking act, don't talk.
I don't think the First Order are that well known in the whole galaxy.
It's confusing what's really going on there.
The politics could have been explained better. It does kind of seem like that would never...
I think probably he avoided the politics, because that was one of the biggest criticisms everybody had with the second trilogy, was how much like was spent on just talking and politics and stuff, and a lot of people were annoyed by that.
The first three, like the ones that I saw?
No, the first three being episodes 1, 2, and 3. I hate that.
I was gonna say I didn't see much politicking in 4, 5, and 6,
but Evil Man was really good. He's just so like uptight, stiff jaw.
That scene, the like Hitler-esque speech.
Yeah, it was really good.
Super well done. They seemed really put together, very organized. There's
a moment that really almost, I think, very appropriately sums up probably what the show creators, the movie, like the producers and Abrams had the task of when they thought about making this film, where they say, this is the Death Star, this is the new thingy. It's this big. I was like, that's basically probably what they thought. That was probably their first meeting.
Yeah.
They're like, how do we make it bigger? How do we make it mean more to people who've already seen the original trilogy? Well, Mr. Abrams, here's the Death Star, and here's what we have in mind.
Yeah.
It's like, do it. Go with it. Get Chris Pine on it right away. This is Star Wars, sir. Fuck. All right. Other meeting. Let's just combine the meetings. It would save me a lot of time. So anyways, that guy, Evil Man, was good. And he's not dead, right? He's going to continue. He said, go get Kylo Ren and bring him to me.
Yeah.
So I hope that guy keeps going. I like that...
the planet, or the, whatever you call it, exploded.
Yeah,
But people could have gotten away.
I like that Kylo Ren seems to be on a short leash.
Yeah.
He doesn't just randomly kill stormtroopers, and when he reports to... what's his name again? The big guy? Jank guy?
Grand Supreme or something.
The Supreme Commander, whatever he is. When they report to him, they seem to be both on the same footing. Like, it's almost like, I don't know, almost like he's playing Steve Jobs and pitting them against each other to see what's more effective. Strong military or, surgical Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, which one's going to work? Manipulating.
Snoke is his actual name, yes.
Snoke. So that's some interesting drama there too. The characters are interesting, and I think that like again, it's a good film that keeps your attention.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just not. It didn't floor me like I was hoping, and that's what I said to Becky afterwards. I said I think I was nervous because you probably could tell today I was acting kind of.
Well, yeah, you were like so not there,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Do you need coffee? What? You need something?"
Can you move the thingy over?
God.
So I was acting weird today because, like the whole time I said a couple times that I'm a little nervous, and the reason was I realized was that I was worried it wouldn't be amazing, that it wouldn't. Basically anything less than the same feeling that I got out of Mad Max was going to be disappointing, and I realized that going in, and sadly it was true that now that I'm in a post Mad Max fresh world, I don't know what will impress me again, because I just went in, I came out just like I was floored.
Yeah.
We both were.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that this would do that too, but
What did you think of the pacing? It's a good question.
Pacing was a little disjointed.
I thought so too. There was one point where I actually had time to, like, it wasn't engaging enough, and I was thinking about how it wasn't blowing my mind, like Mad Max and Turtles.
Well, yeah. So it's funny. Mad Max and Turtles were balls to the wall nonstop through the entire thing.
Well, yeah, I guess those are bad examples because it was so much action. But even like other movies that aren't so actiony, I'm still super engaged because I'm thinking about the story, I'm thinking about the plot, I'm thinking about the characters. But there was just a moment where I was just like, my mind was drifting.
They tried to keep things fast-paced at the same time as having discussions and building characters. And because they didn't, it's almost like Abrams thinks, and you can see this in his films, in the Star Trek films as well, things always need to be happening. And I agree with that, actually, these days. That's my appetite in films, is to always have things moving and action, and not necessarily action, but moving. But in an attempt to do as much as they did, it felt like calm scenes and character building was overlapping action that felt like kind of, they didn't jive sometimes. It's hard to describe how it felt, but it just didn't work. Like I was saying earlier, the feeling of everything being a core group, concentrating on a small group, and then the grand feeling, they tried to combine the two.
That's a good point too. There were times towards the end where I couldn't keep track of how much time was supposed to be passing.
Yeah. And from the way that they talk and treat each other like lifelong friends, you'd think that a fucking month had passed. Like, it just, some of it, So...
Do you want to talk about Finn? We haven't really talked
So
about
Finn, I said at one point that got a reaction at Becky, I said he's the new Jar Jar Binks.
What?
Obviously he's not, but there is a part of me that feels like some of his stuff, in an attempt to be comedic relief and to make him a character that's relatable, I guess, they gave him comedic moments. They want him to be the next, I guess, maybe Han type of thing.
I think she's the next Han.
She's kind of like
fucking awesome.
She's kind of like Han and Luke combined, and I think we got that when she got into the Millennium Falcon at the end.
Yeah.
With Chewie.
Yeah.
It's like she's like, you know, Leia, Han, and Luke combined.
Yeah.
It's incredible what they've done with her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Finn, I just felt like, first of all, as somebody who was stolen from his family as a child, then raised to be a stormtrooper from moment one, programmed. How does he have all this personality?
Yeah, and that he hadn't shown it before. I guess this was his first battle. So that's why...
So I get that. I think that would have made sense plot-wise.
Yeah.
A guy who was programmed, did all the training, did all the shooting, just went along with it, became, you know, a calculated killing machine, but on first trial, in actual scenario, something goes off, and it didn't work.
Uh-huh.
It didn't brainwash this one well enough, or maybe some just don't take it well enough, and when they see killing innocents...
And that's probably why they analyzed their weapons after.
Right. So, yeah, to see if you'd fired.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was sanitary duty for a while. So it's possible that maybe he even was identified from an early on not very good.
Yeah.
Not even good at his like.
They did mention that his indoctrination wasn't successful or something like that. Yeah.
Well, who said that?
Whenever they were standing at the computer and they were talking about his performance, the woman said that it wasn't a success. But this is after he had already gone rogue.
Right. I remember them saying that this is his first time not following orders.
It was in that conversation.
Oh, okay. So in that case, fine. It still doesn't make sense that he has all this personality. I think that his character would have been better if he was sort of a colder, more methodical character who's confused about what he's feeling, but he just knows that he can't do what they're doing anymore, and that he's just like wrestling with whatever the fuck's going on in his head.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be the comedic relief. I think he's the last fucking character that should.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that your puckish rogue in this is clearly Poe.
Yeah.
You know, and he did a great job of it. Like, who talks? Do I talk? You talk?
Yeah.
I talk? That was like, it's like clear that he's our new Han.
Yeah.
Besides,
Ray is also the new Han.
Finn does come across as awkward sometimes, but not in the right way. An awkward type would be interesting. I'm trying to think of a video game character that's like an awkward type, like, I don't know, Cassandra from Dragon Age, or like awkward like Commander Shepard is in social situations would make more sense to me for Finn's character than an awkward, bumbling teenage type who grew up in a ship. He didn't have teenage years, or like, he's not an awkward...
They didn't see him as comedic relief.
I did. Oh, dude, you have to rewatch the film then, because constantly he's like... There's a part where he shoots...
I definitely see that there were parts
in
that they tried to make it.
Falcon, where he shoots, he says, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" No, he's with Poe. He's still like going, "Did you see that?" And people in the theater are laughing. I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me why he has that much personality. Why is he so vibrant?
Yeah, because you finally got out there. He was just jacked up.
Doesn't make sense. Maybe the Academy is different with the Imperials, but the way they talk about brainwashing and indoctrination, I'm not picturing, and the way that they all stand like Nazis and give speeches like Nazis, I'm picturing a much more emotionally repressed person would make sense to me.
Yeah.
Maybe I could see him moving into that character, growing into that character over time as he starts to interact and see how crazy the world is and how there is no rules compared to what he thought.
Yeah.
Growing into that, but maybe is so of course we don't have a lot to go on.
And we don't know who it was, if that person was significant to him that died at the beginning that marked his helmet. I don't know if that's just the first dead person he saw of his comrade.
I think it's just the first time he saw somebody dying. Okay. So that was, initially that's what shocked him out of following orders, and then when he saw the killing of the people, that was like the final nail.
Yeah.
What I did like in his character was how he kept on like grabbing her hand and like trying and failing to be competent.
Yeah.
At doing something. Just gotta do something and failing because he's not as good at it. He hasn't known how to survive outside of like standing in a straight line with other stormtroopers.
Yeah. Like when Finn said to Han, "We'll use the Force to guide us."
Yeah, that's not how the Force works.
I thought that was
He is naive. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there is wreck time with the Imperials. I just don't see it. Because to me, it looks like a guy who basically his everyday life was high school throughout his upbringing. And that makes sense in an academy, but not in a fucking Imperial academy to me.
I think that that's where the hardest part for you is the fact that we never see rebels outside of their rebel getup.
You're talking about Imperials.
Or Imperials.
Yeah.
Sorry. Out of their getup. So it does make sense that it's hard to put a personality to one of them.
Yeah. So anyways, again, without knowing too much more of his backstory, okay, I'll maybe forgive some of it. I just, to me, I think it would be a much more interesting scenario if he wasn't so, I don't know, one-liner and, But other parts that didn't make sense for him is he goes from bumbling, like getting you to like him because he's kind of incompetent. That's how they got you to like him, and bring him down to earth. He's this guy who's just kind of like thrown into this, or just making it up as he goes along. Then he just like fucking goes hand to hand with fucking Kylo Ren, a trained Jedi.
Yeah,
with
dude,
a
I
lightsaber
did not
battle.
Get that? I was like,
No.
I don't know.
One fucking stroke. You are dead. He is a fucking Jedi trained by Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And then a bigger guy. You know, some other fucker. No fucking way they fight for that long.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing I did want to say about Finn that I thought was cool was the first time that he gets the lightsaber, and then he's like, I need a weapon, and Han Solo was like, you have one. And so he uses it a little bit, but as soon as he kills his first stormtrooper, he grabs the stormtrooper's gun.
Yeah, like this isn't
And
working.
uses-
Like it's clear that gun is my thing.
He's
Yeah.
more comfortable with this gun, but he still hangs on to the lightsaber.
Yeah, but then in addition to that, Trapper, Kylo Ren looks incompetent next to and unrefined. He definitely fights unrefined. But you can't tell me a guy who's trained with a fucking lightsaber that long with Luke Skywalker and another Jedi Master isn't going to just beat the shit out of... You go up against a person who is sword trained at their local fucking like dojo or whatever the place people sword train, and then you pick one up and get him to show you his moves. Are you going to be able to do like moment one or at least hand-to-hand combat with somebody who got their black belt?
Yeah.
You know, they're just gonna...
We know he was shot. I am 100% with
I don't
Fraser
give
on
a
this.
fuck if he was shot.
He should have just slashed through him.
He
And I know that he was like...
He could have been missing legs and he should defeat him in a second with a lightsaber.
He's trained.
He's a Jedi!
He's trained. Yeah. He has the Force.
God damn it. And, the other thing is, so Finn, sorry, this is nitpicking, but there's a lot of things like this in this film that, he's, as you guys said, he wasn't fully indoctrinated. He was put on janitorial services, and he somehow, like, it's kind of a running gag with Star Wars fans that stormtroopers just suck. They suck at shooting. They suck at, like, not dying.
Who is
They are
this?
stormtroopers are fodder.
Okay.
To be shot at, and then when they fire at you, they never hit you because they suck.
Okay.
But then they show him, and he's just like, as soon as like stormtroopers start coming at him, he grabs a blaster and shoots 20 of them.
Yeah. That's
And
a
he
good
was
point.
their B team. He was their like D team on janitor services, and he's suddenly this competent. That's so fucking stupid.
Yeah. I never thought about that.
With her, it makes sense. She's got the Force, and that's
Yeah.
the be-all. Like that's your fucking silver bullet. Any situation doesn't make sense with her, she's got the Force.
Yeah.
That's fine, and that's okay with me. Whatever, she's special.
Like magic.
Yeah, it's magic.
Yeah.
It's easy to explain, but there was some good Stormtrooper humor in it.
Oh yeah.
The moment where they stop each other because Kylo Ren's
Oh,
throwing
yeah.
another tantrum and they turn around and walk away.
I really like
There was a few good little moments like that where were funny but not.
Yeah, and Rey has also shown that she can fight with the stick.
Mm-hmm.
And some people in there were saying that Finn, like stormtroopers, are trained in melee combat.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the same
No,
as a baton
it's not.
or
Don't even try to
a
explain that.
lightsaber.
Jedi. You shoot at them and they can block what you shot at them with the
Depends-
thingy that they put in their hand.
Do you want to hear a bit of speculation?
What?
That Finn
You think
may
he has
have
the
some
Force? Bullshit.
sensitivity to it?
Bullshit to the max. Bullshit.
We haven't talked about Rey's mind trick. Have we?
What Rey mind trick? Oh, Rey's
Just
mind
when
trick.
she-
When she learns the mind trick, that was
we kind
good.
of touched on it, but
A little bit long, the way they played that scene out. I thought it could have
she
been.
did it 3 times, which I think is an appropriate number.
Yeah.
But it was a bit long.
Yeah, but it did. The gun part, dropping the gun was good.
Yeah.
Again, I can't, I feel like almost anything involving her, I'm going to be biased because I really liked her character and the actress. One big plus to the film, basically all unknowns, the actors.
Yeah, that rocks.
For the most part, the major roles, from Kylo Ren to Poe to Finn and Rey, all of them are like basically never seen him before. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And that really follows the old
Some
Star Wars
of them
films.
actually applied for, or like auditioned,
And didn't
not
know what they
knowing
were.
that it was Star Wars.
Not knowing it was Star Wars, yeah. Poe is semi-well known? I don't know him. Never seen him. Has he been in HBO's?
Who do you think Rey's parents are? We were talking about that actually on the way home.
Are you fucking kidding me? No way. Who said that? Daniel Craig was the stormtrooper?
Really?
The current James Bond was that stormtrooper. Is that for real? Has that been confirmed or is that just a rumor?
Why do you guys always spell Finn with 2 N's? I would spell it F-I-N because he's F-N to a
Because they've known his
7.
name since like fucking 2 years ago when they started releasing the names of the main
I guess
characters.
that's probably how they spell it on the thing. I totally feel like it should be F-I-N. Because of subtitles.
So there's another major character we haven't talked about. The B unit. What's his name?
BB-8.
BB-8. Really good moments with him. Some stuff that was a little too heavy.
I liked the
little
later part.
The lighter. I actually
That
liked
was
that.
cute.
I thought that was good.
The thumbs up.
He's quick to trust that robot. He's also emotional, quick to.
Be sad if somebody dies.
Yeah. So the sad part, when he gets sad, I thought was they played it too heavy. The way he like bowed all the way down. I think it would have been better if he just stopped moving. And you realize that, you know, he hasn't stopped moving this entire film, and if he just stopped moving.
That would have been really
Yeah,
good,
I think that would have been more
actually.
powerful. But a lot of the scenes with him and a lot of his little moments and inflections were well done. Yeah, he's adorable.
I
He's
thought,
like,
plot point. Okay, so Han Solo's pretty smart, generally. Why was he taking fucking BB-8 around with him all the time whenever they know that people are after them? It's like,
Yeah,
leave the
so I was
fucking
thinking
robot
about that.
behind with somebody else.
I think it's because none of them knew the gravity of this.
Yeah, they did. They knew that it had the map to Luke Skywalker.
Did they? At what point?
I think they did at the point whenever, yeah, because they were going in to talk to that
Who
old
told
lady.
them that?
thing.
Oh yeah, Poe knew. I mean, Finn knew.
Yeah. They totally knew at
Yeah,
that
no,
point.
they were dumb. That didn't make sense.
was
They
like,
kept
what
on
the
walking around
fuck,
like it was their
guys?
fucking. It was a great.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's stupid.
right?
Yeah, for a second I thought maybe it's just because none of them really realized what a big deal it was.
They did.
I mean, yeah, they were shot at by TIE fighters. They should have known.
Anyways, that was a plot hole that got me.
I liked how evil the Empire was. Shooting people, killing innocents all over the place. That was good.
Yeah.
Very Nazi-like. Would have liked it if they looked a bit more Russian this time around, because we hate the Russians right now. So,
yeah. Sorry, Russians. I thought their look was bang on.
so BB-8, adorable. His interactions with R2-D2, and in my mind, we can't understand him, but I would like to think that R2-D2 is as legendary to BB-8 as.
Yeah.
You know the way he
Yeah.
rides up to him and like tries to get him to move, and like he seems to know about
like
him or
running
know of
into
him.
Han Solo
Yeah,
and being like,
that's what I
"Oh my
think.
God,
That
you're
was the
R2-D2."
droid equivalent,
Yeah.
and he didn't care about C-3PO. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Oh, C-3PO's moment where he comes in and interrupts the emotional scene between Han and Leia was pretty well done.
Yeah.
That was perfect. It was very C-3PO. Fuck him. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of the way.
And it was short, and he walks away not having really a clue.
Yeah. I'm surprised there wasn't a reunion between Chewie and C-3PO.
Yeah.
They kind of become buddies as much as somebody can be a friend of C-3PO.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see those two interact.
I liked the abuse of C-3PO and R2-D2. He hit them.
He always
once,
did.
yeah, so, you know, that was nice. That never
It's like
changed.
Alice and Ralph. You probably don't recognize me because of my arm. It's so good. Chewie was
Awesome.
as good as ever. Yeah,
Yeah.
They did him well. I liked the interactions between Han and Chewie. Man, like, Harrison Ford has old manned himself well. He's, like, he had so many great old man moments, like, just these, like, grins and, like...
Isn't he 68?
When he starts using the crossbow, he's like, I like this, and stuff like that. It's just so...
And I love how Chewie picks his jacket, like, continuity is a big thing with me.
Oh, yeah.
And Han Solo takes off his winter jacket at one point whenever they're going inside, and then as they're leaving, Chewie picks it up and gives it back to him.
Especially when Chewie had complained about it being cold.
Yeah, and then he puts it on again and then takes it off to go in to fight again. Mm-hmm. It's like, yes, they never show shit like that. He's 73? Wow.
There were, I can't think of examples at the moment, but there was a few moments where I felt like they were a bit too cheeky and nodding at old things. I can't remember what it was exactly.
With Harrison Ford?
Yeah, it was a Harrison Ford moment where one thing I really didn't like was when Finn was saying about how he can do that, just trying to convince them to put him on the mission to go so he could go save Rey, saying he could help them disable the shields or whatever, and Han Solo says, I like this guy. I don't see that happening. Han Solo is still a smuggler. He's still not quick to like people. He's still very much like, you know, I don't know. He just was too quick, like all the characters were, to bond. It's like, I think we made a joke about this when we were watching our movie night. All the main characters seem to know who other main characters are, and I've said that recently on, I think, when we were watching actually. What's his name? Anyways, a show. But saying that main characters always seem to know who they should open up to. It's like,
oh yeah,
you look like you're in you're a major part of the script. I'm gonna start talking about my life fucking story now because I can tell you're another major part of this. But regardless, Han's moments though were good. They really felt like
we're totally full on spoiler.
Oh
we
God.
said everything.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to.
It was a good curtain call, I feel like, for the character. It did make sense.
What did you think about the interaction between Han Solo and
Kylo Ren?
Leia?
Oh, Princess Leia. Yeah, they did well.
Yeah.
I think that Carrie Fisher did well.
Yeah.
Acting as sort of like they both had these expressions, probably easy to do it, being veterans of Hollywood and life. These expressions that only a person of that age can really evoke, that like, same old, you know, life goes on, this is just, you know, history repeating type of looks on their faces. Like everything from Han when he's facing off between the two gangs,
right,
to just like her when she sees him for the first time and just has like these knowing like smiles, or like it's all in the eyes. Mm-hmm. They really did light up the screen, I think, as people who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And it felt like, I guess to some extent, maybe a passing of the torch, but that won't really happen to the next film.
Right.
When Luke starts interacting with Rey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke and Han fell into myth because they went back to...
Yeah, and Leia kept...
Leia has notoriety now. She's
working.
A famous general.
Yeah.
/ royalty. So yeah, Han did, I mean, Harrison Ford did great, Carrie Fisher did great, and I think their characters were used appropriately, and they had an appropriate amount of weight to the story and everything like that. It makes sense completely. She's a major general, and he was her husband, and so of course, and he's the father of a Jedi that's destroying the universe, so of course they're going to have major plot points, but OTP, totally.
Yeah. Funny, they were
Finn
in an
and
interview,
Poe.
Finn, Poe, and Rey, Rey's actors, and they're asking, so is there romance for your character, Poe? And Poe is like, no, he's just kind of getting shit done. And then they asked Finn, and Finn was like, I played it like it was a romance. And then
he looks at
Yeah.
Poe?
No. He looked at the
Oh, that would
girl.
be
He
so
looked at Rey.
amazing if he looked at Poe. And
No,
that would be incredible, because it really did look like that sometimes.
Yeah, and then she asked Rey.
Wouldn't that be cool if they went that way?
That'd be cool. But she was like, we'll see. So, I don't know. I thought that interaction was pretty cute.
I don't want Rey and Finn to have a relationship. It just seems so typical.
I know.
Why does that always have to happen? If
Girls
I'd
and
just be
dudes can be
so
friends.
impressed if it's platonic.
Yeah.
If they really do just want to help each other out.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice? And that's another thing that I think all of the emotion and hugging and tears in this film, they weren't a lot, but even a little is a lot in Star Wars to me. Because for me, what I loved about the first ones was how they all really are kind of like business. You know?
Right.
Like, just like, I don't know you, but we got the same goal. Let's fucking, get shit done.
Yeah.
And the first ever kiss in Star Wars is between Luke and Leia to piss off Han. Just to piss him off. Like, that wasn't romance in any way.
I liked that.
It was amazing. There were no kisses in this, but
Just
some
a
very
forehead kiss.
caring, emotional scenes, like as though they've known each other
Fraser's
forever.
also emotionally constipated, so whenever he sees emotion on screen, he like backpedals. Actually, that's so funny because that's actually me. Fraser will cry and I'll be like, fuck
I give myself
that.
over to films.
Nope.
I'm always ready to feel emotion in films.
Yeah, no, not me.
Are people saying Finn and Rey are potentially related? Speculation that you're talking as though is like accepted fact. Leia and Rey related?
I wondered that.
Oh yeah, possibly. Yeah, okay, so we haven't discussed that. Where does Rey come from?
Yeah,
Why was she
who are
left
her
on the
parents?
planet? That's the biggest question we're left with.
Yeah.
What is her history? Like, who could she be? Saying,
What's Phasma? Would be their mother?
how many babies did Anakin and Padme have? Maybe she's the daughter of a third child. Maybe there weren't just two children, Leia and Luke. Maybe there was a third child and they had a baby and it was her. Or maybe she's Luke's daughter. Maybe he had a romance with somebody that was off screen and we don't know about. And maybe he left her there on Tatooine or on Jakku, which seems really... It's clear that something destroyed Luke. Something happened. The betrayal of Kylo Ren and maybe something more. He left behind R2-D2 and didn't tell anybody where he was going, but he left behind clues of some kind for some reason. As like, I don't know, like, who knows why he allowed himself to be found.
Yeah.
Maybe for her.
Obi-Wan had a romance between 3 and 4. Oh, this is getting into book stuff.
Oh, I don't want to know book stuff.
But people are saying that it could be Obi-Wan's... I'd say granddaughter.
There's so many different things it could be, so
some
it'll be
people
interesting.
are saying daughter.
So yeah.
The Force is strong in my family. Now you have that too. That's the teaser line. Force is strong in my family. Now you have it too.
Yeah, that was actually possibly a red herring in the trailers.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen in the movie.
Yeah.
That could completely be thrown to the wind. You have no idea where they're going with that.
Yeah, it's very true.
So, who's left?
We talked about... Oh, we didn't really talk too much about Poe.
Yeah, there's not much
He's
to be
pretty
said.
minor,
He's a
but-
minor character who takes up a lot of screen space because of his personality.
Yeah.
He's in some really cool moments, and I don't know, you're in a film that I always felt like was a Western, you're looking for that rogue. And
This did not feel like a Western
No.
to me at all.
no.
The 4, 5, and 6 felt Western-y to me
Yeah.
in space, but this one didn't.
So the old lady type alien with the glasses, I thought fell like extremely flat for me.
Is that Maz? Was that? What was
I
her
thought
name?
Maz, I think that's it.
Okay.
Very flat character. I thought the acting was flat and boring. I thought that for something that has got so much personality, I thought should have been played by an actual old lady.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Whether mocapped or whatever, the voice should have been genuinely an old lady, because it was very clear to me that she was Winona Ridering this character.
Yikes. Winona Ryder doing old lady is always terrible.
I always use that as an example of a young
Always
person
bad.
trying desperately to do an old person's voice and failing.
Edward Scissorhands.
Caroline Rhea didn't do too much better.
Oh god, she's not very good either. She's not very good.
The fact of the matter is it can't be done. It can't be done effectively. Young people can't do old voices well. And Winona Ryder is just the worst example in Edward Scissorhands. And in this, it was clear to me that she was trying to have a bit of an old lady voice, and it just was like, why not get one of the great, amazing senior women out there to do this character? And
I didn't really have qualms with her. I thought she was,
her character's how old?
How about the new Cantina music?
Maybe 1,000 years is still young for her, Stacey. How do you know this? How does everybody know so much? They didn't say at any point she was 1,000 years old in the film.
So.
What the fuck?
Han
said it? I missed that line.
Me too.
I
think. Han does say it. She's had the place for over 2,000 years.
And then it just gets wiped out by the Imperials again. So she's apparently at some point, she was entrusted by Luke, like, so she's obviously like a good character.
Yeah.
Like, but she doesn't really keep his stuff secure.
I think it opened because...
Still, it was pretty easily reached.
No, it
Just
opened
kind of
because of the
stuffed away there
Force.
like it was, okay.
That door, there's a big fucking door there.
Yeah.
At the end of the hall, nobody walks to the end of the hall.
See, that character, I like how she crawled across the table to get a closer look. I thought that the character was animated well, and I thought the idea behind the character and the design was good.
Yeah.
But the voice and the acting, I just felt like was very boring and flat and not a lot of personality. Like, I'm going to compare it to Yoda, like that type of character.
Yeah. If
It
you
just,
compare those
and you don't
two.
have to act kooky.
Yeah.
You just need more. I don't know. There needs to be a...
Is it the female voice that makes it so difficult? Because...
Nah, it's flat. It was flat and bland to me. Might have been that's how she was directed to do it. I don't know, but it was just... Should have been a lot better.
I didn't really mind her.
One other character I just saw on screen there.
Yeah.
The commander silver stormtrooper.
Yeah.
I was expecting to see her face.
Yeah, me too.
I wanted
actually.
to. I want to see who's behind that mask.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get to know who that was or who.
Is that Phasma?
How would you know the character's character? Captain. How do you know this? It was Brienne of Tarth underneath?
What? That's fucking awesome. Internet.
Slanty eyes. Yeah.
No, I didn't recognize the voice.
I could tell the entire time. I could tell I knew what this voice
Really?
was. I thought actually I could tell who Kylo Ren was. I thought he was going to take off his mask and I was going to find out it was somebody I'd seen in like an HBO series or something.
Really?
Like there was something about his voice, the way he talks, that seemed very familiar, but apparently that was wrong.
They call her Phasma in the first scene with her. Huh.
Okay. Some of you guys were paying a lot of attention then. I don't catch things like that.
Seen this movie? Like for me, would I have even known her before this?
It was a hyped up casting role? No. See, I don't go on the internet. So, that scene, by the way, if this Captain Phasma is as cool as she feels on screen with her lines and just like how she looks, what I don't buy is how quickly she rolled over for them. I'm gonna blast you with this. she knows that he was unable to fire a shot to kill those people down below. She knows that, like, he's a defective unit, basically, who won't do bad things. She should know that he's not going to shoot her.
Right.
She should have been able to call his bluff. In addition to that, he leaves her while she continues hacking and taking down the shields for him.
No, they were standing there when she was taking down the shields.
He says, take him down. She starts. She says, you're making a mistake. Then he walks away and starts talking to Han while she continues.
Oh, but they were right there. She walked like...
She shouldn't have done it.
Or he walked like 3 feet. Apparently they said that she was originally supposed to be a man, but they gender swapped without changing anything.
Cool.
That's fun.
It added a lot to the character to be
Chewie
female.
had them covered. He was still aiming.
All right. Yeah. I still don't. I think that, like, my interest in the character died right there because, like, she's not badass.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have done that.
I do get what you're saying, though.
She should have said, then shoot me.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Just.
What are you gonna do about it?
Lower the shields.
Yeah. Or, like, what I was hoping was after he has that discussion with Han, they turn around and the screen's all red. I was like, she fucked him, and I was excited because I thought, like, she fucking just, like, said, kill me. I just saved, you know, them.
Yeah.
Or something. But she didn't. So that's kind of sad. So now I'm not even interested where they're going with that character because
she let the Wookiee
she rolled
win.
over. Brienne of Tarth would have never done that.
No, that's fucking sure.
So, what, anybody else did we miss? And any major plot points did we miss? I think we basically, by using the cast method, got through the major plot points.
We haven't really talked about the actual lightsaber battles. What did you think about that?
Well, there weren't really any. I don't feel like Kylo Ren fighting like a flailing child against a girl who's just figuring out that she has the Force qualifies yet.
I thought it was awesome how
interesting.
she was just kind of fighting like an amateur.
Yeah.
At first, and then she switches.
Yeah. And it
she actually
clicks,
has
and she
technique
opens her eyes, and the lightsabers are like in both of their eyes, crossing.
Yeah.
I thought that was
I thought it was really
well
cool
done.
how she was floundering at first, and they made that evident, but she didn't look like a fool.
I liked the viciousness in her eyes when it looked like she was going to strike him down to finish it, even.
Yeah.
And then they got Land Before Time.
Yeah.
But
which is crazy. There wasn't that much space between them.
she really looked like she was gonna fuck him up. Like, and I kind of like, and I hope they continue to give her an edge like that.
Yeah.
Like a survivor, somebody, and that's again why I didn't like how quick she was to emotion and connection with so many, like with Finn particularly. I feel like she should have been edgier throughout. She should have been, I'm trying to think of like, I don't know, like almost like Jack from Furiosa, or like Jack from Mass Effect, or like, you know, a kid who raised herself in the fucking gutter of Jakku.
Yeah.
Should have been like vicious, tenacious, and like precocious. Like she's clearly got a spark and a vibrancy to her character and her personality.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she should be edgy and hard too. And I didn't like that she was too quick to just show emotion.
Primary desire is for her parents to come home. She always wanted a friend. I feel like if she always wanted a friend, she would have found one.
On Jakku, I'm sure she would have made a connection with another person attempting to survive.
Like there was that one part where she was cleaning the shit and she went to say something to the old lady.
Yeah.
And the like bots or whatever stopped her.
There was also a shot of a girl who, when the TIE fighter, love this shot actually, one of the TIE fighters gets destroyed, and there's immediately people as the parts fall, grabbing, running, and then one of them's a girl running towards it. It's like there's other girls just like her, kids trying to survive by scrapping. You can't tell me she didn't have a friend there. And I guess I'm proving against my own point then, that she did have connections with people. Maybe that's why she's not hard. It's because she knows how to be friends with people.
No, I think the point is
I feel like that's
there
a friendship
are
that needs to be earned.
And she could have been friends with them.
Yeah. And
if she
I feel like
really wanted that.
Her friendship needs to be earned over a long amount of time. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, she was busy setting up her sweet AT-AT pad. That was a pretty sweet place. I liked that.
Yeah, that was cool. How did nobody else want that?
Yeah. Well, how did nobody else steal the fucking Millennium Falcon?
Well, it wasn't just sitting there. It belonged to like the guy.
Yeah.
It had been, Han mentions, somebody stole it from him, then traded it to that guy, and he was stealing it back.
Yeah.
So the best part about Han is that even though he only knows how to be a smuggler, he's not particularly good at it.
Yeah.
Like, he is a good smuggler, but he's also kind of...
he burns a lot of bridges.
He burns a lot of bridges, and he's predisposed to failure often, and getting himself into bad situations. What was the other thing about her and living on the planet?
Lightsaber fight. Rah.
Nah, whatever. Shit. No, well. Jakku could have been fleshed out a little bit more. It felt like pretty much what you saw. It looked like a filming camp in the middle of a desert. They didn't go to great lengths to make this feel like a vibrant, like, settlement that based on the scrapping of these parts. This has existed for decades. It should be a shanty town, basically, instead of like what looked like a mess of tents just pitched in the middle of the desert. It looked pretty phoned in.
Yeah, like if you're gonna be here for a long ass time, you're gonna build a shop.
It should have been
instead of just a tent.
Better than Tatooine.
Tatooine felt more real.
Yeah. It felt much less believable than Tatooine. Which is too bad. So that's the thing. It might sound like we're nitpicking, but the fact of the matter is, I went into this with a very positive attitude and not wanting to nitpick, but found myself unable to not. And I think I've proven on this show in previous times that I don't go in a lot as a franchise snob saying like, you can't do that because I love this film.
You
and
totally don't.
I don't do that. I think I proved that with the Turtles. That, I don't consider things so sacred that you must do things a certain way. And I think that the film did do a great job of getting back to the feel of Star Wars. On the other hand, they just had a lot of stuff that I felt just felt like silly oversights that just easily remedied and that kind of add up to make you a little bit annoyed with mainly plot holes, but also little things like we just discussed about the size of the city and like, how long it's supposedly been there and things like that.
Yeah.
So, as much nitpicking as I just did, basically, I don't think without me, Becky would probably she wouldn't have had any problems, really. It requires, I think, somebody pointing out stuff for you to be annoyed.
No, there was, the 4D chair thing whenever they like put something on the table and the chair rocked.
Yeah.
That I didn't like. The pacing was a bit off at some points. The fact that they kept taking BB-8 out with them, that actually made me annoyed during the film, but the rest I thought was great.
BB-8, once again, is a good example, though, of, I think, trying very hard to have elements from the first film that worked and redoing them. BB-8 and Kylo Ren are just, R2-D2 and Darth Vader 2.0 each.
Yeah.
And it's kind of shameless. Not that they weren't
I'm just
enjoyable
so glad
characters.
That there was no Jar Jar. Like.
Yeah, that was good. But yeah, it's shameless how they do it, and I know that they knew that they were being shameless with it, but it was pretty heavy-handed.
Did you think the gun props looked crappy? I didn't notice.
I thought Star Wars guns always look crappy. That's the point.
Oh, really?
I think the fact that they look crappy is what makes them good. They all the way down to in a TIE fighter pilot having to go like this to aim. Remember when you commented on that? I think when Darth Vader's following Luke and he's like keeps on going down and like turning this one dial over and over on his controls. They did that, which is good.
Okay, so.
Oh, I didn't notice that trapper. I think that
looks
did you
like
see it
a
in 3D?
painted Nerf
It's
gun.
hard to notice fine details like that with the 3D glasses.
Yeah.
I find.
Poe apparently interviewed Harrison Ford about how to fly an A-wing. Is it an A-wing that Poe flies? Whatever he flies.
Okay.
And Harrison Ford said, just get in it and make it up. And he was like, okay. And so he gets in for the first day.
He asked him how to do the Millennium Falcon, I guess you're saying.
No, Poe.
Poe asked who?
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford never flew one of those in any of the films. He must have asked Luke.
Maybe he asked Luke?
He asked...
Maybe, I don't know. He asked somebody, one of them, how to fly it, and they said, just make it up. I was pretty sure it was Harrison Ford. Anyways, he gets in there, and then, no, there won't be another show. He gets in there, and they have like an entire script on what he can't press because the audience knows what. Like that's not
amazing.
You're not hitting the booster, so it was actually like really in depth.
So the original cast got to make it up,
Yeah.
and then since then, it's been retconned based on what the original cast made up.
Yeah.
To be this is what's true.
Yeah.
So the whole doing the little dial knob, like I just talked about.
Yeah, Ford just said it's all fake, so just make it up. And then he gets in there and he's like, oh,
Okay, so
shit.
he asked Ford how to pilot a spaceship, then not like specifically what
I
they were
guess
flying. Yeah.
One other thing that we haven't talked about is Luke.
For the moment he's shown, yeah, he's good. He's got I think the biggest thing is how does he look as the next Obi-Wan in a way, you know?
Mm-hmm. I like his hand.
He certainly looks like old Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
You know,
totally.
He's hermetized himself just like Ben did before. Yeah. And I guess that's another element.
I wondered that too, how much Mark Hamill got paid. He was there for like 2 minutes. I was literally gonna ask you that as soon as the film ended, but then
I hope a lot.
talked about it. I saw him as Yoda. Really? I saw him way more as Obi-Wan.
He's more as Ben because Ben also kind of left and hid as a hermit disgrace.
Yeah.
His pupil turned on him, his pupil, like he failed.
Yeah.
And I think Luke sees the same way. But I mean, there's obvious parallels there, and it's clearly Ben 2.0 again. It's like she had to go find him in the middle. He's actually kind of Ben and Yoda in the same way, like that she went and found him on a planet somewhere else, but it's not the same because she knows it's Luke. He's not going to be, you know, taking her food and throwing it around and stuff.
Yeah. What did you think about the film score? I didn't find it as memorable as the Empire's score.
Yeah, it didn't.
I actually don't.
There's
really
nothing. It just felt like standard film score.
Yeah, I think
it added to the film, certainly, like all good scores should, but I think that probably most people coming out of the original films came away with those key songs that just stood out as like, wow, that score, like everything from the Imperials to like did they use the Imperial March at any point? They used Leia's theme for a brief moment when she hugs Rey at the end. So they tried to break away from the original score and make their own thing, but their own thing was very not standing out for me.
Rey's theme is the only one that really stood out.
I can't remember it.
Yeah, me neither.
But I will acknowledge that Leia's theme also probably didn't stand out to those who first watched. It's one of those things that grows on you and you realize later that you're humming even though you hadn't. I don't think I know Rey's theme though.
They use the Empire's mask when showing Vader's mask. March when showing Vader's mask.
Okay.
When she was riding down the sand at the very beginning of the film.
I'd have to hear it again.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the film just didn't have that same...
it didn't stand out to me.
The Imperial March, I think, changed people's lives when they first saw it in theaters. Like, there was nothing that spelled evil better than that theme.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so good. And, of course, the main theme, which you obviously... yeah, so I think we've covered it all. Overall, again, I've done a lot of complaining here. I didn't think the film was bad. I just felt like there was a lot of problems that I had to docket points for because it took me out of the film, a lot of problems. Maybe that's because I'm going into a franchise that I should have low expectations because of the last 3 films.
Yeah, right?
there were some great moments. There were, you know what? Here's what I have to say. I was about to say, like the fighting, the TIE fighters versus X-wings were great. There were some really cool shots, like when suddenly the Imperials or whatever they are taken by surprise that the X-wings have shown up and they're all going like this, and you can see them all just going down, and then it pans over and they're all panicking or whatever. Mm-hmm. Cool shots like that, really cinematic moments. But I didn't feel like there was much cowboy feeling moments.
Yeah,
like,
definitely not.
There was no, they tried to recreate Luke's celebration in the Millennium Falcon going, woo, looking back and stuff with Poe and Finn. But there wasn't a lot of, fuck yeah moments like I think the original films had, where it just, like Luke taking the shot. Poe took the shot, he went in, took many shots. That moment where he blows up 3 things in a row looked like a video game. It was like, oh yeah, that's how you do it.
Oh, that's the other thing. I liked that their technology, like their computers and stuff,
or shit,
old, and they're just like a screen with some random buttons over here.
Kind of like Fallout, how they've come up with teleportation, but all their computers still look like Pip-Boy and terrible. It's kind of a funny, weird way that their technology's progressed.
How did you feel about Han's death scene?
It was good. The emotion that he showed as he's dying and just looking at his son, trying to see any semblance of good in his face.
Yeah. Thought it was good as well.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about the way Poe blew it all up that just felt like it looks like he's having one of those moments where you do the final mission and it just all clicks and you do it first try.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
People are upset that he died off screen. Are you guys upset? I just keep seeing the fact that he died off screen being in chat.
Well, he was dead. I loved Chewie's reaction.
Me too, that was really good.
Chewie's just like, fuck it!
Yeah.
I think that Chewie decided, I think Chewie thought he was committing suicide when he decided to blow up the pillars right there. Because the plan was to get out and then detonate it. It wasn't to blow it up right there, but he just takes the shot and then presses the button. I think he thought he would die. So I liked all that emotion they showed from Chewie.
Yeah.
I feel there should have been a moment between Chewie and Leia about his passing.
Actually, people were saying that.
I think it's kind of lame that Leia and Rey have that moment.
Yeah.
Once again, they're making it feel as though somehow Leia and Rey and.
Well, Leia and Rey both have the Force, right?
Oh yeah, Leia can tell that Rey has a lot of lines in the script, so she's made that connection with Rey. It's just, to me,
that's what I thought. Chewie just walked past her.
Yeah, feels tagged on, feels forced, the relationships between some people, and some things overlooked.
I think for that part, for me, I was thinking it was a Force thing. I don't have it, so I don't get it. But they know each other have it.
She should have interacted with Chewie.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that would have been really impactful. They didn't even know what each other looked like. No, they had never seen each other before.
Leia and Rey?
Yeah. Right? They hadn't, right?
I guess not, because Han only goes and sees Leia after she's been carried away. I guess then that was supposed to be a key thing to show that they know each other then, that they have
There's some sort of connection.
Fine, but I still don't. They should, then Chewie just shouldn't have been in the background to make that easier to make sense.
Yeah. Deacon loved the film. He texted after with 8 thumbs up, and I said 8 out of 10, and he said 8 out of 3. Double plus 2 thumbs up.
Pretty good.
So he was pretty pumped, and I asked him if he's gonna go see it again, and he said yes. He's gonna see it again in theaters.
I don't think I will. I don't have any desire to.
I really did like it. I thought that it was really fun, but it's not a movie that I am anxious to see again. I'll want to see it again.
in the future, maybe at home. Just there's
Yeah.
nothing there that.
But it's not like Mad Max where I'm like, I get it, and I'm like, let's fucking go back. It's so hard to. I keep saying Mad Max just because it's the most recent thing we've seen that just blew my fucking mind.
You know what I think made Mad Max so incredible was how it felt like it used a lot of wide shots. It took advantage of the format and the resolution that today's theaters have always afforded a good resolution, but lots of that, and that was like Mad Max, and lots of wide shots, lots of stuff where you can see everything that's happening. And the original films did that too. The original Star Wars had lots of wide shots because that's just how things happened back then. I feel like they went too modern or like typical with this, and a lot of action-based shaky cam and moving and stuff. There was great shots like that, and like that one I mentioned with the really cool like cinematic shot of TIE fighters coming, and this shot was great too. The trailers had all the best shots. The rest of it was tied together with a lot of like shaky action, fast-moving, fast cuts. I want long-held, wide, long shots.
Yeah.
I don't want to constantly be cutting to a couple stormtroopers dying, then over here, and this guy's running, and then over here.
Yeah.
I want long shots, wide shots. And the trailer was full of them, and the movie was basically what you saw in the trailers, plus of everything else that you'd expect from a film these days.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say that I loved.
It's very Abrams.
Yeah, which is funny because I thought Abrams had like sloughed off his style based on the trailers. The trailers made it look as though he was trying a new, completely different direction with his style. Like, look at this. Look at all the trailer stuff they showed.
Yeah.
Long, wide Prince of Arabia shots.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia shots. So,
I only saw one lens flare throughout the whole
there was
movie.
only one when she was walking and it pans. So, I thought lightsabers felt more powerful, actually. I loved the use of lightsabers to strike fear into people. Like, when Kylo Ren uses his and just destroys shit, and every time it comes out, people like quake in fear, kind of. And the moment that he puts it to her face and she's just looking at it, and it's like heat waves are like vibrating her face and stuff. Like, I love that scene where they're running and the explosions are happening behind them. And I want to know if they were actually running. I doubt it, but if they were running from explosions for real and having dialogue and had to get it right in one take, I doubt it.
So fucking cool.
Even Mad Max didn't do that. They used the magic of compositing to make sure that dialogue and important action was done over the explosions afterwards. So, I don't know if there's anything.
Oh yeah, Kylo's introduction when he used the Force on Poe's shot. That was fucking cool. He shot and...
Oh, that blew me away. I
dude,
looked
me
at Becky
too.
because I was like, I didn't know you could do that. So
Did
like,
I look at you?
I
Can't remember.
I don't know, my jaw dropped because I
mine
never
too.
thought the Force could do that. And for a second I thought Kylo was clearly the most powerful Jedi, but then that was a fucking bluff. 'Cause he clearly isn't. He's a piece of shit. He sucks.
I don't think we've seen the Force used that way. That's cool.
I
Some
was-
behind-the-scenes shots showed those explosions fairly close to the actors. That's cool.
It was a missed opportunity that he didn't. What should have happened is when Poe was on his knees and he comes up to him, he should have used his own shot to threaten him with. He should have brought it over and had it floating in front of his face and like saying, you know, tell me.
Yeah.
That would have been way cooler. But I think we've covered everything. I did a lot of complaining. I think it was probably this whole thing has just been me nitpicking and complaining, and it's true. I liked it, but there was a lot I found to complain about, sadly. I don't know why.
Because you're afraid
because there was I didn't go looking for it. Believe me, I didn't. I really didn't. It's just the further the film went on, the more I felt like I was rolling my eyes, and I don't want to do that. I went in wanting to love it, and just didn't love it. I only liked it.
It's a good setup film.
So, what is Rogue One then?
Do you want to know more about it?
Okay,
Or no?
tell me well, I'm obviously going to end up watching it. No, don't tell me. I want to only know when the trailer comes.
Okay.
But it's a spin-off and its own completely contained story? That's all I want to know. Is it its own story contained, ancillary or parallel to the plots in these? Because that would be cool. Give me the Star Wars universe and just get away from all this. I want new stories, new plot arcs,
Yeah.
without all the gravitas of everything else. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that's, I don't know if that's what I want. It's a prequel to...
4?
Oh. I thought somebody said there was spin-offs. Those aren't spin-offs. Those are prequels. It's completely different. What a
So
spin-off?
it's gonna be like
a
3.5?
A spin-off would be the Boba Fett film series or something, like a
Yeah.
series of stories about Boba Fett
Yeah.
that have nothing to do with the films. They're just about his like personal journey or something. Okay, there is a Boba Fett one coming.
It's not a prequel from what I understand, just before.
I don't want to know anymore. We'll see when I watch the trailer when it comes.
Yeah. Disney calls them spin-offs.
When is it coming?
They're thinking next year?
Okay. Wow. Well, it's in Disney's hands now, which means that we'll have a Star Wars film every year from now on.
Yeah.
Forever.
Did you see the Disney logo?
No. They only showed Lucasfilm.
Yeah. December 16th next year-ish.
Wow. Yep, so that's it.
It was good. I'm very, very glad I saw it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, of course. It was good. Again, I reiterate, it was good. It really was good.
I quite liked it.
I liked it too. Just didn't love it. Just didn't blow me away. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Another post wrap-up discussion,
Thanks
not a
for
review.
discussing with us, guys.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
May the force be with you.